What is this change exactly called self-realization? You know, I refer to it in a lot of ways, as do the scriptures of all the various mystical traditions, right? It is penetrating the illusion of self, penetrating the illusion that I exist, I experience as a separate entity, that I am the doer of my actions, that I'm the controller of my actions, that I'm the decision maker, that I'm the person who enjoys the various consequences of events or suffers from them, for that matter. Enjoyer, sufferer, doer, right? This whole experience, or this whole set of notions, right? Seeing through that, so to say. Okay, that's all true from a certain angle, from a certain perspective. But all these things are ultimately said provisionally. That is to say, they're kind of a set of rungs on a ladder of concepts. And ultimately, as philosopher Wittgenstein would say, we have to knock that ladder down. He said it in a totally different context, but it came to mind. In the end, what that recognition is can't be said. What that recognition is beyond language. It's beyond the mind. See, the entire set of language and mental concepts is built on the illusion of a separation between I and not I. Now, when we quote-unquote penetrate that illusion, so-called penetrate that illusion, we then lose the entire set of concepts that are built on top of that foundation that doesn't exist. So what exactly is happening then in that so-called recognition, in that so-called penetration? It simply can't be said. The mind cannot understand. It isn't a thing, it isn't an event, it isn't a lesson. Is it even a change? It's a changeless change, it's an actionless action. Are we saying anything when we say these things? At best, we're knocking out concepts from the seeker's mind that are less useful, let's say. Less useful to what? Can't be said. Less useful to the search. But the end of the search will be that there was no search, there was no seeker, there's nothing to find, and yet, dot, dot, dot. The unspeakable, unsayable, unnameable, non-thing, non-event, the alteration that can't be said, the tearing of the veil of ignorance. I mean, these are all euphemisms. No matter how it tries, the mind will never grasp what is happening, what has happened, what self-realization is or isn't, the reality of the illusion or its unreality, any of the metaphysical questions to which you most want answers. To those questions, precisely and specifically, answers to the mind are not available. And yet there's an end to the quest. And yet there is peace, there is liberation. But what is that? What is that? What is that? It's simply, again, that which cannot be gotten, understood, grasped, something in which the mind cannot feel comfort. And yet it is. It simply is already the case. It simply is timelessly, eternally the case. And when the illusion is penetrated, it will be seen there was no illusion to penetrate, that ever could have been penetrated, and no one to penetrate it. That even right now, there is only that which is beyond is and is not, that which is can't even be said to be is. I mean, we say it, but it's actually beyond, as I said, is and is not. Our normal notions of is and is not are relative notions of is and is not. That is to say, is defined as a contrast to is not. In reality, the true is encompasses both.